pyramids. These little ones here are the for the wives of the three pharaohs. You can see this is the first small one. Here's the second.
August 3rd. We have finally arrived in Cairo. 7 students ready to embark on a 1-month journey through Egypt. Our goal, to research the impact of tourism in this fascinating country. As tourists ourselves, we will consider our own impact and we will explore ways to travel in a more sustainable way.
Okay, we're in Cairo.
Okay, we started off in Cairo, and we traveled by train all the way down the Nile Valley to Upper Egypt. Okay, the location here, Luxor, this is where we're at right now. Okay, we're leaving tomorrow, first thing in the morning, to Mars Alam, which is approximately right here, immediately south of Luxor on the Red Sea. So we start right here, and then we travel again up to Hurghada, spend a few days there, and then we're ferrying across the Red Sea to Sharm el-Sheikh, where we'll go to Hurghada, Nuweiba, which is right next to Dahab there. It's another location. And then we'll come back to Sharm el-Sheikh, and from there we're going up to El Arish on the north, the Mediterranean coast.
Where is it
Sinai
near?
Peninsula.
Oh, on the Sinai.
It's actually not marked. It's right by the border with Israel on the Mediterranean coast.
Sweet.
And then we travel across, passing by
Alexandria. And then back to Cairo. And that's Cairo.
August 4th. Today we met our partner organization, the Arab Office for Youth and Environment.
It is very important that every one of the Egyptians, and also those who come from outside, but basically it starts within the Egyptians themselves, that they should learn and they should be aware that their environment will survive, their environment will attract people to come. We're talking about Red Sea, about South Sinai, North Sinai, the Mediterranean, the oasis. All these places will bring more people if we keep it as it is. But if it is polluted, if it is destroyed, if it is not clean, if it is not kept the way we found it 100 years ago, this of course will affect our future. So basically I think this should be the basics for saving our environment, and by doing this, the main target will be the tourism. Actually, we have to look at the tourism as internal tourism and international tourism, or external tourism. So if I'm Egyptian and going to stay a few days in the Red Sea or in South Sinai, I have to learn that I have to preserve my environment. It's also a message that should be given to the visitors to come, either they are Egyptians or they are not Egyptians. The way we do this, I think basically the hotels, the different companies that deal with tourism, like the car rental companies, the restaurants, the beaches, the diving centers, the airlines, the train offices, all those people, they have to, all the time they have to provide the visitors with information, with guidelines.
Well, Brad, our hotel here is very well situated at the city center of Cairo, and as you see, it's quite a big hotel.
It's huge.
It's 800 rooms. A lot of business is being done every day. A lot of functions. A lot of restaurants. I mean, there's a lot of activities going inside.
Right.
And this is why we thought that if we start also talking about the environment and trying to minimize and economize on the waste and what we're getting out of this hotel,
right,
it would be a good idea for the country.
August 6th. We arrived at the station 10 minutes before our train pulled out of Cairo.
Okay. Bye-bye, Cairo.
Adios, hotel.
We had this whole train car to ourselves.
Yeah.
And Luxor is like the monument capital of the world, basically.
Here we come, Luxor. Bye. Bye, Cairo.
Ciao.
Oh, I'm going to be a good mood when I get to Luxor.
Yeah.
In the dining car, we meet an interesting character. He works as a tour guide for an adventure travel group.
Hi there, my name's Graham. I'm actually from Australia, and I work for a company called Imaginative Traveller. I work throughout Egypt and the Middle East as an adventure tour leader. We take small groups on adventure tours around the great cultural sites of Egypt and the Middle East. Imaginative Traveller is a member of CERT, which is the Campaign for Environmentally Responsible Tourism. That's a really broad term. It encompasses a lot of different aspects, but essentially it means that our company is about conserving the heritage and the culture and environment of Egypt for future generations of tourists and for the Egyptians themselves. Essentially it covers everything from not littering to observing local customs and laws, and basically respecting the country and the people that we choose to visit on our tours. To get the most out of a country like Egypt, which is completely different from a Western environment, you really need to be prepared to forget about home for a while and to enjoy the differences. And that's what CERT's all about, enjoying the cultures that we go to. I think that the youth of the world is the future of the world, and education is an extremely important part of basically informing the next generation of tourists about the appropriate way in which to treat the world. Now, a lot has been said about protecting the environment and acting in an environmentally friendly way over the past few years. We've seen big programs in Western societies for recycling and for careful management of natural resources such as water and timbers and non-renewable resources. The whole idea with a program like CERT is that we educate people wherever they are in the world, that wherever they go, that they have an impact and that they need to be aware of their impact. And it's great if our impact is no more than a few photographs and some happy memories. We don't need to leave our litter about. It's just really important to go to places, to enjoy them, and to leave them in a state of preservation for people afterwards to enjoy. There's nothing more heartrending than climbing to the top of Mount Sinai on the Sinai Peninsula, Mount St. Catherine's, and finding litter that people have just discarded. You know, they've brought it up and they haven't taken it back, and they had the effort and the energy to take it there. They've consumed and they've left behind, and that's really unfortunate. With all ecotourism and all global ecological responsibility, it's always think globally and act locally. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, be thinking of the next person and be thinking of your own personal enjoyment.
August 7th, 1998. My dream continues to Luxor, the monument capital of the world. So much to see. Karnak Temple, Hatshepsut, Valley of the Kings. My mind is already saturated with ancient visions. So much to remember. What a surreal experience.
I think it's the responsibility of everyone. It's not only the NGOs. It's not only the government. I think in some places, like in Luxor, you will find that the people who are living in Luxor, the Luxor people themselves, they understand very much that they can live if Luxor lives. So if we destroy our cultural heritage, this means that no one will come, tourism will not happen, that those people will lose their income.
August 9th, 1998. I know tourism is the economic lifeblood of Luxor, but I can't help but wonder if it has come at a cultural price. Today we went to the shop of a man who carves vases, bowls, and other sculptures out of the alabaster that he collects from nearby mountains. He showed us how he carves the stone, shaded from the hot sun, by hand, using simple tools. This is a skilled craft that he began learning as a boy. Now he passes on these traditional skills to his own children. Then later today, as we were walking through the tourist market, I thought about how so many of Egypt's traditional arts and crafts have been cheapened to meet the whims of bargain-hunting souvenir shoppers. Bargaining, of course, is part of the Egyptian culture, but there is a fine line, I think, between participating in cultural life and exploiting it.
مش عايز يأثروا خالص يعني انت يعني لا انت هتقوله زينا يعني سيبنا يعني كده لا بس انت هتظبطوه ايوه يعني هو عايز يخفوا مني مش عايز الطول ده طبعا بس بيقول يعني شكل يعني هم عندهم ياكلوا عادي
Tell him the last time I got my hair cut?
Yes.
It was 2 years ago.
Really? Either you make your hair like that.
That's not going to go over too well, right? That was fun, right? This way. Right, sure. Whoa, that feels weird.
August 9th. As herds of tourists flock to Luxor year after year to see the world's largest ancient open-air museum, some also leave their mark on the temples and tombs that have stood for thousands of years. Touching and leaning against walls colored with hieroglyphics has over decades faded them. Flash photography is another threat to these ancient inscriptions. The combined effects of millions of tourists visiting these sites over the years has had a devastating effect on the preservation of many of Egypt's ancient monuments. Today, on the way to the Temple of Karnak, our cab driver was telling us about some of the major projects to restore Egypt's ancient monuments. Restoration of Edfu Temple is one project that's underway, which will open the 2,300-year-old monument to tourists. Egyptians who live in the surrounding area will be forced to leave their homes and relocate to an area that will not interfere with restoring archaeological sites and improving tourist services. As more and more historical sites are developed to attract and accommodate tourism, I'm left wondering, what are the costs of this economic growth to the lives of local people in Luxor? And is it sustainable?
August 8th, 1998. I believe the Movenpick is an example of a hotel chain that makes a conscious effort to protect the environment it depends on for business. It was explained that every Movenpick is different, due to different management. However, the Movenpick in Luxor is a leader in environmentally friendly accommodations.
Well, I suppose one of the big issues here in Egypt is the pollution of the Nile, which is, it is a big problem, and Movenpick is certainly trying to help by, first of all, we recycle all of our wastewater and clean it and use it again, say, for watering the lawn, so that we never discharge polluted water into the Nile.
Well, a lot of ideas, we have to say, came from the guests, our customers. And if you try to tell them that they should help you in order to reach this target, to save the environment, you get a lot of good suggestions. I mean, for instance, in the rooms we implemented, we don't wash your towels on a daily basis. Tell us when you would like to have your towels washed. Or, for instance, the bed sheets. Let us know when would you like to have the bed sheets washed. Otherwise, we wash them only on a three-day basis, not on a daily basis. These kind of things. Try to save water. Whenever you put the soap on and you have a shower, stop the water, and then afterwards use the shower again. And there are plenty samples.
Do you see environmentally friendly hotels becoming a way of the future? More and more hotels becoming involved in protecting the environment and attracting tourists at the same time?
For sure, but I think in the future it's going to be, it has to be. I think it will not be especially highlighted. I think it's a must. It's a must for the future that every hotel is environmentally friendly. I think this is the way it goes.
Actually, Red Sea Diving Safari started 10 years ago. The owner of the company, his name is Hussein, and he started by himself with a few guests, 5, and then start to improve more and more. And the guests, when they came back to the country, to start to bring in other people, and we had to deal with the agents and so on. It's become like this now.
August 10th. Here in Marsa Alam, we are at the meeting of two worlds. The arid mountains' dusty roads collide with the pure blue ocean. Between land and sea, the hot wind blows gently, lulling us to sleep in the burning afternoon heat. The ocean here is healthy. Tourist developments have not yet invaded this part of the coast, and the sea is teeming with life, as I hope to see tomorrow when we will join the divers for an excursion out to sea.
There is something very fatal thing, which is, I call it, not only me, it's carrying capacity. You have to realize that every house reef have a certain carrying capacity. You cannot have a house reef like this and put 60 divers on this house reef at the same time, every day. It means that within 1 year, the whole house reef will be completely destroyed. So there is carrying capacity for everything. If the government, for example, built in a house reef like this, 5 projects, and each project have 200 rooms, you are talking about 1,000 rooms, 2,000 guests, and they have 1 axe to the sea, and they're gonna use it all. They will destroy it within 2-3 weeks. Because if they look, oh yeah, that's a huge piece of land, oh, this is a huge sea, okay, let's build 100 projects here. It didn't work this way. And most of the investors, not most, 99.99% of the investors in this area, they know nothing about diving, they know nothing about marine life, they don't know even how to swim. They are good guys, yeah, by the way, but they don't know. They need someone to tell them. So they plan the whole thing in the right way. We are trying to establish a non-profit organization just to give some information for the investors, what they should do and why what they shouldn't do and why. And then it's up to them to decide. We will not going to force them because we cannot force anyone, but at least the knowledge we have by being here for 10 years, watching all kind of things around, we will put all these things in a reports in different languages and give it for free to the investors. And maybe we can sit with the Bedouins and give them some kind of tips. And maybe we can learn from Bedouins because they know a lot. Yeah. And we can do the same with fishermen to see what kind of things they are using.
it's very difficult to work backwards. You can only work for the future. The future is in the south coast of the Red Sea. All this area up till our borders with Sudan is all very much preserved merely by the fact that it is not receiving that much of tourists. This is the future, I think, for diving and for the ecotourism, because all this area is very virgin, and it can take an infrastructure of ecotourism, or like ecolodges, or preserving the natural resources as they are, so that the tourists would come, fit into the environment without minimizing the damage for the environment, and then they can go, and then they come back the following year, and then they would not say, the place has been damaged, or that the place is not like as it used to be.
First, diving center should be very strict with divers. They should be far at least 2 meters from any kind of coral reef, at least 2 meters, and they should make a kind of a fine that if someone touch anything, they can cancel his trip completely, and they should do care about the carrying capacity of each house reef. So if there is a reef, and this reef can carry 2 boats, you cannot put 6 boats on this reef. No way. The most dangerous part of the diver is his fence. Not his hand, his fence. Because he don't realize that he become taller for 50 centimeters more. As soon as you break a small part from the coral, it will be infected and will be destroyed completely.
Not many places in the world where you can combine beautifully soft corals, hard corals, and reef fish like you can here. Something has to be done if the reefs are going to stay in pristine condition, because it's the way things are going. It's going to be a lot of dead sites.
If you imagine this small piece of coral, inside this small piece, maybe you find between 15 and 25 small fish. If just you break this piece of coral, at once all of this tiny small fish is going to be eaten by the big fish. Just 1 second. That means you destroy the coral, you destroy the marine life, and then after a while you're not going to find anyone coming to you to have his holiday or for diving or something like this.
Ça se voit pas en un coup d'œil comme ça. C'est au fil du temps qu'on voit que ça se dégrade. Et bien pour diminuer les dommages, déjà il y a les bateaux. Pour éviter de jeter des ancres et donc d'abîmer le corail, il faut implanter des bouées. Évidemment, on va faire un trou pour mettre quelque chose à l'intérieur, on va abîmer, mais il vaut mieux abîmer une fois et après la vie reprend, que de chaque fois avec une ancre, on arrache, on détruit à chaque fois. Ça, c'est la première chose, c'est le bateau. La deuxième chose, c'est le plongeur. Alors le plongeur, lui, il faut qu'il soit bien, mais alors très bien conscient de tout ce qu'il fait. Donc une bonne stabilité et donc un bon palmage. Si les gens s'accrochent au corail, évidemment, on tue. Ce sont des choses qui sont toutes petites, qui s'accumulent les unes après les autres au fur et à mesure des années, et ça met très très longtemps.
August 14th, 1998. Here we are on our way to Regatta, which is situated on the Red Sea coast and is a center for coral reef diving. Recently, there have been many steps forward in protecting the delicate reef ecosystems, thanks to organizations like the Regatta Environmental Protection and Conservation Agency.
In order to stop the damage that is caused by the anchoring on the reef and the dive sites, these dive centers or dive operators agreed to go ahead and purchase mooring buoys, and this was done in 1992. 1992, 1993, there was like more than 100 buoys installed, and of course at that time there was no plan for maintenance. The plan was merely for the installation. So after less than 1 year, the total damage was more than 75% of the mooring buoys that were installed in the Hurghada dive sites. The Hurghada dive sites, we have more than 40 dive sites, and of course each one of them, depending on how much it is used by divers, then each one of them maybe take an average of 5 to 6 buoys.
18-inch polypropylene buoy. It's filled with polyurethane foam. Has a line which runs through the centre. This line is designed so that it's easily maintained. In other words, we can loop down line and the top line into these eyes either side, which means that we don't have to remove the whole of the mooring each time we want to change the buoy or change a line. We can do each individual section as it is.
August 14th, 1998. Next, we went to Algona, a manufactured paradise that started as a slice of desert on the Red Sea and has been transformed into a lush, canal-filled resort haven. Construction has continued at a rapid pace to include such desert-contrasting activities such as go-kart racing, freshwater swimming pools by the dozen, and even a golf course that has been grown out of the most arid of environments.
Algona is a rather recent development, and it is started off as basically a dream of one person who did not originally think it's going to grow to such a size. It started off in 1990, and at this point in time comprises of 6 hotels, real estate, and all the infrastructure to support it. Algona has established its mark in the tourism industry here in Egypt, especially because of the fact that it is very carefully designed aesthetically, and also from the aspects of infrastructure, and obviously in all this planning the consideration of environmental impact and of being environmentally friendly is paramount. And our biggest advantage, as you said very clearly, is that we have a controlled environment. We have, we can control what is being done here aesthetically, environmentally, and further down the line for the future, because it's not a short-term project that, you make a project, it's finished, and off you move, so that your liability or your commitment to it is not a short-term commitment, it's a very long-term commitment. And that, I think, is our greatest strength. Egyptian hospitality, as was in the past and as is at present too, but in an environment which is typically Egyptian. That is, I think, a very, very good aspect and unique aspect of Algona. Now, of course, it's linked also with the infrastructure, because we've got to support it, and we've got to support it in a way where it does not damage either the aesthetics or the environment or other aspects of operating the place. So we've got our own desalination plant, which at this point in time is basically recycling or cleaning water, which is brackish water.
So here, one of the big focuses of Algona is becoming more green and introducing a lot of vegetation and making it just a very kind of green space, where originally there was kind of barren desert, very little plant life. How does Algona provide the water needs for the greenery here?
Water needs, we are having a number of wells by the mountainside. These wells are giving water that is suitable just for certain kind of plants. We are getting this water and we are treating it. There is a desalination plant that is producing fresh water. Fresh water is distributed to all the villages, then it get back to the sewage treatment plant where it is treated The sludge is kept beside, let's say, in order to be used as fertilizer. And the sweet water is used in two ways. For certain kind of plants, the most beautiful one, we just use sweet water, let's say, treated water. For other plants, we make a mix between the well water, that is, as I told you, around 5,000 parts per million, treated water, that is about 1,200. So we get a mix that is 3,500 to 4,000 parts per million, that is suitable for a number of plants.
And we've got sub-sewage treatment plants for the hotels, so there's always a backup on that issue. This recycled sewage is used for irrigation purposes for plants and horticulture. We've recently developed a golf course, and that golf course should be online in the month of April.
Behind it here we have all this area is the golf course. The golf course has three, what do you call it? There it is, okay. The outer region is the course itself. It's an 18-hole PGA golf course. In the middle we have a lagoon, and in the very center we have this peculiar shape of an island, which is meant to have 70 private villas, a hotel and a clubhouse.
Back to the infrastructure, so we also treat our own garbage here, which is, as I was explaining earlier, segregated at source at the hotels, and then it is taken to a garbage sorting area, which is way back. It's about 10 kilometers away from the actual inhabitations here. It is a protected area, secluded, and there it is resegregated again, incinerated, used for biodegradable decomposition, and then thereby experimentally we've started off a biogas plant, which we are presently using just for the Bedouins who live in the mountains around this area. Also, in this process, we are supporting the garbage collecting community, which is in Cairo. We support and sponsor families to come here, basically 2 or 3 families who come and live here, who we supply with the housing, etc. And they use this segregated garbage for economic purposes, where they can resell it, especially the paper garbage and the glass bottles, etc. The idea being that everything, wherever possible, can contribute to some other activity which is socially and communally effective, gets an advantage there. Laguna will continue to grow. We're doing a simultaneous development of a similar nature in Taba. Recognition of Laguna is a fact which can be borne out by the number of international travel agencies who feature Laguna in their brochures. As you all know, it's very difficult to get a place identified as a destination in itself, but we have reached that stage.
Desert is living. If you go into the desert and stay there for a few weeks, and I'm not going to tell you a few years, few weeks, you'll see how much life is there. The movements of the sands, and how many insects, how many birds, how many birds are in the desert, you cannot imagine. And of course foxes and camels and goats and gazelle, and it's a lot. But we human beings, if we don't see something really moving in front of us in this very second, we don't believe there's life. Life is all over. And even if there's no life, it's none of our business. We're not the owners of the desert. Why do we want to make a desert green? Is it also so logic to go to Switzerland and say, it's so much green, we see only green, we'll take now 100 acres and we'll make it desert? How would people really think about it? If you go and tell them, okay, we'll take 100 acres and we'll make it desert with mountains and put a camel there and, stones, and they will look at you as crazy. And tell them, yes, we'll bring, sand dunes and it will be very romantic. Stupid. A desert is a desert. Green area, forest is a forest. The forest is very important and the desert is very important. You cannot turn a desert into green. You cannot. Sinai got a lot of different aspects. First, from the religion's point of view, we have Moses was here, Jesus passed by. I mean, the whole three religions were here on Sinai. Tourism is important, economically, etc., etc. But what are we gaining from this tourism coming to the Sinai now? We are getting people that have no idea about Sinai. They don't respect Sinai, they don't respect the holy land of Sinai and the holy nature of Sinai. People are coming just for sun and fun and sand. They can have it anywhere in the world. So we wouldn't sell Sinai just for people coming to have fun and sun and so on. We should get these tourists that respect this area, respect the sea, respect the nature, just to take and give back so they don't cause so much problems. Human beings are changing. They're not the same. They always change from each generation. And this generation and the coming one is respecting their feelings and respecting their minds. They don't want anyone to tell them what to do. And in the normal hotels that are starting to be old-fashioned now, they're used to have a casino and a discotheque and a showroom and video and aerobics, all these things to let people be entertained. But in Basata, we do not entertain. We let people entertain themselves, so they have to think, we respect their minds that they can entertain themselves. And that's why people really like to come here, not only once to visit, they come here few times a year, even from Europe. From Cairo and so on, almost every weekend. But people like to be themselves. They don't like any more artificial lives. This is the new generation coming. So therefore, we are really proud of that our guests are coming again and again and again. We are always full. Besides, we don't go down with prices and up with prices due to the market. We have standard prices for everyone and all the season through. So we are attracting certain kind of guests that like this kind of living. My opinion is, if on this coast we'll put a lot of casinos, we'll attract gamblers. If we put a lot of discotheques, we'll attract dancers. If we put a lot of eco-lodges, we'll attract eco-tourists. So what do we want? Abasata means simplicity in Arabic, and that's what we are trying to do since I started. I just didn't want to call it basata, I mean simplicity. I just wanted to apply this expression that we could live simple, we could live in simplicity as normal people and also as tourists. Since human beings started traveling, looking for food, looking for new stuff, tourism started. This is tourism actually. But nowadays, actually, it went in a different way. This way shows that I'm a tourist, I'm a king. You are the host, so you do what I say, and you do what I like, which is a very bad thing to start with. If you want to make real exchange, so you come to a certain place, you are the same. So what are we gaining? The few dollars that are coming, to whom? Not to the Egypt, not to Egypt. Very, very little is coming to Egypt, and the rest is going abroad, because all these companies are international companies. They wouldn't leave the money in the country, of course, because they have their expenses. So what we are gaining really is very few working places, as waiters or as I don't know what. But real money is not there. Sustainable tourism that you can count on for the next 100 years, which is a very short time in any country life, you cannot. So economically, on the long run, we are destroying all our resources completely in a very short time, and not to be renewed again. We cannot renew it again. The garbage, the way we manage it, we separate and sort things that we do really use. Things that we cannot do anything yet with, we don't sort or separate. That means the glass we put aside and we send it back to Cairo to be reused. There's some people, they take the glass, they wash it and resell it again. The plastic bottles, we have the shredder, so we shred it and we send back to Cairo to be recycled. The cola bottles, we use only the two-way bottles that are refilled again in Suez. And the metals, they go aside. We know someone in Cairo, he is cleaning it, pressing it, melting it, and selling it to the metal aluminium companies. And the organic leftovers, we give it to our living recycling machines. That are the goats, the donkeys, the camel, the sheep, the ducks, etc., etc. So we take from these animals, I mean they are recycled, so they take the leftovers, and what they give us is two things. Organic products like organic eggs, milk, hair to make the Bedouin stuff with, because they cut it and they make things with. And from the other side, we take the manure, and with this manure we use it as fertilizers in our greenhouse, or we mix it with mud and we built our mud brick houses that you saw over there. The water, after it's desalinated, we use it in the showers and the sinks and the cooking. The other part that is bad, we use it in flushing the toilets, in washing of the dishes, and mixing with mud and building with. So therefore we try to have a very small machine as much as we can. That means we use these automatic stop taps. Our guests are using from 50 to 70 liters of fresh water a day. In the big hotels, they use between 5 to 700 liters a day. So because we are using so less fresh water, so we didn't need a big machine. We bought a small machine. That means a smaller generator. That means less rejected water or less water with high salinity. So the problem is not so big, and you can use it for flushing the toilets, etc., etc. First, in the 60s, it was the hotels, the big hotels, and then in the 80s, it was the holiday villages, and now, maybe in 10 years, there's something else. But these things that they are building now, you cannot remove, and you cannot do it something else. Well, taking Basata as an example, we built with bamboo. You can put it apart after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and you wouldn't see anything. You can build something else with wood. I don't know what's going to be after 10, 20 years. But concrete, they are digging holes in the ground. It's raping. It's a real raping. These hotels are killing the Bedouins. And now the only human beings that are still having their own culture, till now, in few years, maybe not, are the Bedouins. And nobody thinks about them, either about their culture, where they're going to live, how they're going to live, and how they're going to deal with this new culture coming to them. And those people, either the Bedouins, the Red Indians, or whoever, they are part of the human culture. So the human beings are losing their culture. Not the Egyptians, not the Sinai people. It's all the human beings are losing their culture, because first they are losing the seed of the cultures of all human beings, and they are losing the natural environment that this culture grew in. So the Bedouin culture grew in the desert. Now they're destroying the desert and destroying the Bedouins. The Red Indians in the States, in America, the same thing. The Aborigine in Australia, the same thing. Not only the people and the culture is destroyed, but also the environment around it. It's something that, my opinion, all the human beings are going to suffer because of that. The Bedouins, they are the best ones to know how to deal with water in the desert. They know how to deal with their animals, the desert animals, and they know how to be part of the natural cycle, a part of it, and they know how to integrate with it. And we don't, because we come from the cities, and in the city you see only human beings and concrete blocks. So they can teach us how to be part of the whole cycle, and now we are killing them. It's unfair for them, and it's unfair for us. We are killing ourselves. So therefore, we should reconsider all the touristic development that are happening all over the world. We are not against development. We are not against a country having working places and jobs for their people at all. But we are talking about sustainability. But what's happening now is an artificial development. And in a very short time, it's going to be left like a piece of garbage. One of the Bedouins came to me and told me, Sharif, look at this machine. I saw the machine, I was shocked. It was a coffee machine. said, what's that? I said, yeah, it's a coffee machine. A tourist gave it to me as a gift. So I started explaining to him that this tourist must go to work and leave his house at 7 o'clock in the morning. That means he must wake at 15 past 6, going to the toilet till 25 minutes past 6, and by this time the coffee should be on, This is his life. But what is your life? You can wake up whenever you want, maybe very early in the morning to go fishing and come back, and you have to collect some wood to make some fire, and then you get the bakaraj, it's this copper pot, you put it there, and then the water is boiling, so you get the coffee, and you start the hummus. Fried it on fire, and then you put some hail on it, and then you start smashing the coffee, and with nice boil, they make music while making like this, and then you put it in the water, and from that you put it into another one, so you filter the coffee, and then you take it in little cups, so you can drink 20 cups. It takes time. It's a ceremony. It's a real ceremony, starting collecting the wood till drinking in the little cups. You have the time for it, and you do it to think and to look at the stars and to look at the sunrise. It's your life. You are not in a hurry to... Some of them, the traditional ones, try to keep it. But the young ones, they don't know anything about the culture. It goes like this. It's so easy to lose the culture. I couldn't believe it. How easy a culture could be lost because of nothing. Because of few dollars coming from few people passing by and then leaving. And they don't think about what they left behind. They left a catastrophe. They killed a culture. And they don't even feel it. And it's unfair. And before that, they used to drink their tea for nothing. They collect the plants, they make the tea, it's for nothing. But now they have to go to buy the Coca-Cola. And then they have to take the money to buy juices into things. And then they have to go and buy the milk they can get from the goats. And then to give to their children this bloody stupid powder milk instead of giving them breast, because this is modern, this is I don't know what. Why? And nobody's saying anything. Nobody's telling them this is wrong, your culture is right, and what you see there is wrong.
August 28th. Egypt is a land of contrasts. Returning to Cairo after almost a month of traveling throughout the country, I still feel so overwhelmed and completely fascinated by all the diversity. The stillness and calm of the ancient Nile River, which winds like a serpent down through Cairo, contrasts against the chaotic bustle of contemporary urban life in the city of more than 16 million people that's been called the mother of the world. The dry and dusty desert fans across the country with a spine of lush greenery spreading across the banks of the Nile. Indigenous Bedouins carry forward many aspects of their traditional life as they are surrounded by emerging hotel developments that usher in foreign tourists and modernization. Ancient temples are scattered throughout modern cities. Men in galabeyas pass by men in suits as donkey carts pass by Mercedes on the streets. Everywhere, layers and layers of life are woven into the fabric of this country.
I think if we keep on going like we're doing now, together with the Tourist Development Authority in Cairo, that they are trying to present the eco-lodge and ecotourism in a good way, maybe this will encourage some investors to go on this way of new tourist lodging.
is a difficult question.
Yeah,
I know. You know, you are the youth. You are the future. So we want from you a lot, and you want from us, the advisor, and so on. So how we can grow up all this collaboration between the countries.